Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So just a few days ago, we just got the Easter 2024 event for Dungeon Quest. And surprisingly, the boss for it is pretty difficult. So I thought I'd make a video about it. So in this video, I'm going to be beating all 10 tiers of the Bunny King, boostless. And also at the end of the video, I will be giving you guys my thoughts of this update and what I think Loadout should do in the end. Because this update does a lot good and a lot bad. And if you guys been keeping up with the Dungeon Quest community, you can probably already tell what those are, but I'm still going to cover them in this video if you guys are unaware. So I will leave timestamps in the description, so if you guys don't want to just watch through the whole thing at once, you can refer to those timestamps to see what part you really want to see, which I'm pretty sure would be just tier 10 and my thoughts. But anyways, enough ranting, let's get right into this video. So the gear I will be using is my Yokai Peak set. As you can see, I have an Akuma Mage Cloak with 31.2 million physical or spell power. And I have Akuma Mage Rose with 29.3 million spell power. And I have the Mage Legendary with 325 million spell power. Okay, so this is overall just a pretty good set. It's not the best because my armor could be better, since this is actually really low for purple. And for my skill points, I'll just be using all of my skill points because in case you guys don't know what the Bunny King does, your damage dealt and taken is actually scaled based on your gear and the tier of the boss. So what I mean by that is, if I play tier 1, although Voldex said that the requirement is level 60, even with Yokai Peak items, it'll still take you some time to beat the boss, even though it only has 24 million HP. So, yeah, be ready for the long run if you just play this dungeon. So yeah, I will be using this gear for all 10 tiers. I might change around my skill points for later tiers, depending how hard they are. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get right into our games, and I'll see you guys back when I finish them. And there you go. As you guys can probably saw from my failed attempts, this took me quite a long time to beat. And yeah. So now I'm going to give you guys my thoughts of this Easter event as a whole. Now, if you guys don't want to hear all my long explanations, I'm just going to say it's okay. There's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad about this update. So let's start with the good things about this update. The biggest thing I'd like to point out is the boss for this dungeon, or for this update. I really like the boss, actually. It has some interesting mechanics, and I don't really care that the damage you deal scales with tiers. It just takes a long time to beat, even with the top tier, but I don't think that's a major issue, honestly, because it's just fun to fight, and it's not really fun if you beat it in like 2 seconds and just move on. Now, some problems with the boss though is the rewards you get and how much damage it deals. Now, if you guys don't know this, the damage the boss deals is based on your HP. So there's a lot of attacks that will always two-shot you, and a lot of attacks that deal however much damage your HP is at. And this is probably the worst part of the boss right now, because at tier 8 and later, it starts to get really difficult. And yeah, you guys can probably tell from tier 10 I died a whole bunch of times compared to all the previous tiers. Another problem I have with this boss is how much eggs you earn if you beat it. Now, at tier 1, you get only 20 eggs, which I think is just okay. Maybe a little bit low because it's so easy. But once you get to tier 7 and higher, I really start to think you don't get enough eggs because of the difficulty, especially with tier 10. Now, Loadout has argued that you can keep progressing through higher tiers and get way more eggs, but you only get 1 extra egg for every tier above tier 10. Like, this is not enough justification to make tier 10 give 29 eggs base, and that doesn't help when you can't beat tier 10 on your first try, because I guarantee, even in a group, you can't beat this on your first try. You will need to take some time to learn the attacks, especially when you reach phase 3, because that's what killed me a lot, especially once I started to get the hang of the second phase. And yeah, that's what I don't like about this boss. Now, the next major positive I'm going to give for this event is, you guys are probably going to disagree with me here, but it's the way you progress through the event. Now, don't get me wrong, it is actually a little bit too hard to progress, but if it was balanced properly, I think it would actually be pretty good. Now, the Battle Pass is probably the most controversial topic, because among all the older players, everyone said this is probably the worst idea Loadout has for Dungeon Quest. And it is something new for Dungeon Quest that is a very controversial topic, because Battle Passes is kind of getting old and not really everyone's favorite thing. But if balanced properly, I think that's actually pretty good. Now, I don't like that you get 2 cosmetic armors for only the premium side, and the free side only gets a whole bunch of boosts and some tier keys. But if you guys increase either how much eggs you get overall or reduce the amount of eggs required for each tier, I think it's actually pretty good. Now, this next part is kind of going to be in a little bit of a gray area, because I don't really know what to feel about it. So, the first thing, potions. This is probably the most hated feature in this update, and I can tell where it's coming from. And I'm just gonna get it out of the way. The luck potion is kind of the only potion that I think is good for this game. Now, it is argued that the luck potion is also terrible for this game, but I think it actually really helps for everyone, because this just makes purple and or legendary items more common, And while a lot of people say that this will ruin the economy and it ruins the point of grinding, it actually does not. It just makes it less tedious to grind. Especially for the newest dungeons that come out, it can take people months to get the best gear, while for a lot of people, it can only take a few hours to get. And you guys probably remember from Yokai Peak, I always was complaining about never getting purple Akuma pieces and not many legendaries, while a lot of people had inventories full of Akuma pieces and legendaries. And while a lot of you may say just get good and grind more, you guys probably don't know that a lot of my grinding is solo, and yeah, I probably should have gotten more than I really have gotten from Yokai Peak. And this is kind of what ticks me off a lot. And I'm not comparing myself to all those other raids because, and especially because, that Yokai Peak takes about the same time to beat as solo compared to a group. The fastest group, I don't really know their fastest time, but I say it's about 12 to 11 minutes maximum on the timer. And if you can solo, that's only a minute slower, and that's not that much slower, honestly. So yeah, there's a little bit of a gray area with luck potions, but I generally think it's a good thing. Now the bad potions, they are obviously the other three that got added, which are HP boost, speed boost, and revive potions. I'm gonna start with probably the worst one ever, revive potions. So, the revive potion, this is not a thing that should have been made in the first place. I don't even care that this is a one use per run only. It completely defeats the point of hardcore mode, because the point of hardcore is you have only one life to beat the dungeon, but you get an extra item for beating it. And having that extra life kind of defeats the point of hardcore. Now it could be argued that a lot of people aren't talented at the game and they just want to get through faster. And if that's the case, just play no hardcore. Just take that extra penalty for not doing an extra hard thing, or an extra thing that makes it harder. And I think that's acceptable. An acceptable trade-off, honestly. Not having enough items, or not getting that extra item for infinite lives, I think that's a fair trade-off. But the worst part of this revive potion is a lot of people in raids are going to ask for people to buy revive potions and the other two potions just so they can get through raids faster. This essentially makes those raids pay to play, which is honestly the worst thing ever Dungeon Quest could ever have. Now the next potions I need to talk about are the health and speed boost potions. The health potions I'm in a little bit of a gray area with, and the speed potions I also think are a bad addition to this game. Now the speed boost from the speed potion is not actually that great. It does increase your movement speed from 16 to 17.6, which is about the same speed as Illusion Blast from Samurai Palace. But this can actually make a big difference, especially when playing the Bunny King in tier 10. Because that big circle when he jumps on top of you, starting at that tier, is undodgeable without speed spells. However, I noticed that if you have a speed boost potion, you can still avoid it without a speed boosting spell. And this completely ruins the balance of this dungeon, honestly. I don't know if it stacks with Enhanced Inner Focus and Enhanced Inner Rage and all the other speed spells, but if they do, this can be a major problem for Dungeon Quest. Now with HP, I'm a little bit mixed on it. On one hand, it can make you deal more damage than you are normally intended to do, which isn't really saying too much since you can't really one-shot the minions on the highest dungeon, on the highest difficulty yet. But on the other hand, it also completely ruins the point of having extra stamina. So I'm in a little bit of a gray area with this one. So I'm not really going to have any opinions about it. You guys can just have your own opinions about it, but I honestly think it's just not really a thing that should be added in the first place. So the cosmetics, I'm not going to tease it to you guys, but I have seen the cosmetics for this dungeon in person already, because I've been if you guys don't know, I'm part of the QA testing group for Dungeon Quest, so I get to test a lot of the things beforehand before they break. And the cosmetics, I think they're good actually. They're probably not well suited for this update, but I think they're pretty good looking. I like the highest armor cause for the premium side of the battle pass. Yeah, that's all I can say. It's just good, I guess. So that's kind of all I have to say about this Easter event update. It's pretty okay. It's got a lot of good things and a lot of bad things. And overall, I give it a 6. It's probably one of the better events that Loadout has made, but there's a lot of balancing issues, and the potions coming with them, I have to put them along with this event, because if it was not for the potions, I'd probably give this event an 8. Now, obviously, there's still all the issues with balancing and whatever, but in terms of just general mechanics and how you are intended to progress, I would give it an 8 on that one. But because of all the potions and the off-balancing stuff, I would give this event a 6. So I have left the suggestion poll for balance changes to this event in the Dungeon Quest Discord. And if you guys don't know what those are, it's basically to nerf the Bunny King on tier 10 and also make it more rewarding to beat the Bunny King, because getting only 29 eggs on tier 10, that is not enough when you need to get hundreds of eggs to get to the next tier on the battle pass. And the highest tier is 15,000. Like, that's gonna take you way too long, probably not even enough time to beat the dungeon or to beat the event if you just beat tier 10 all the time. So that's all I have to say on this video. If you guys like this type of video, please drop a like and subscribe to my channel for more future content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers!